It's now time for Me and My Roku with your host, Peter Clay. Everyone has Cheddar.
Incidentally, this is Peter.
So we have a voicemail now from Peter.
This is my brother Peter.
Not everybody sounds like Peter Clay.
Pete, you are not!
Peter Clay is here today. Holy crap, it's Peter.
Oh, I love Peter. Pete, are you able to say something nice?
Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic, amazing, incredible, mergelicious edition of Me and My Roku. We'll get into that story later. But welcome aboard. I'm your host, Peter Clay. This is a good time to be had by all, because here I come and discuss all the things I do with my streaming services. On the Roku, on the Chromecast, Apple TV, Fire TV, all that good stuff. I come back and tell you what I do for you to decide for yourself if there's any value in that at all, and then just decide for yourself what you want to do. I just provide information, stuff you may have heard from other places, things that you just didn't know, or you just want to listen to an idiot ramble on and on. It's up to you. I report, you decide. Joining along for the fun here. I am not endorsed or compensated or anything along those lines by any service that you may hear about on this stuff. I may own a fractional share of like Disney stock or something like that, or Apple, but that's just fun stuff on the side type of thing. Nothing influences me whatsoever. I just get in there, I explore, and then I report back and come back to you. Lots of fun going on, lots of weird stuff going on, and some things just to kind of catch up on. So we got a lot of stuff to get to. So let's get started.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Okay, so if you've been following this program, for I don't know how long, I've been doing this now almost 2 years, full time. I started it way back 10 years ago and all that stuff, did about 8 episodes and all that. So check out the Internet Archive for that. But you might recall, a couple months ago, let's go back to the Wayback Machine here. Yeah, so pleasant. So nice back then. Actually, not really. We were in the midst of COVID then and all that stuff. We had to wear masks all the time. Anyway, I mentioned a service that was coming up. I normally don't like to do that. I don't like rumors. I don't like that. I like things that are official, things I can dive deep into, get into there and report back. But there's some things out there that are going on that are kind of, this was Struum. Now, it's stream in Dutch. I don't know what they're trying to do here, but anyway, we're going to go with Struum until I hear officially otherwise. That wants to make life easier for niche streaming services and their fans by offering access to a bunch of smaller, quote-unquote, streaming services for one flat fee. Okay, so I mentioned that last time. We didn't know a whole lot. We just knew that there were some ex-Discovery and Disney employees or board members or something along, bigwigs that were in there. They want to do this service. They feel that there's something going on here that there's something that needs to be filled. There's an empty space somewhere in your streaming that needs to get filled. It's all being dominated by Netflix and Disney and maybe even Discovery, HBO Max, all that. So anyway, so now we have some things. It's going to launch later this month. So we know a few more details now. Now we know it's going to be $4.99 a month. And then you have access then to 50 smaller, quote-unquote, smaller streaming services, including BBC Select, Tribeca, IndieFlix, Filmbox, and others, through a credit system. So you don't just get a free sample of something like that. You're going to be given a little pile of chips here. And what you want to do with those chips, you get 100 credits. And you'll be able to purchase TV show episodes, typically about 3 to 4 credits per episode. So if there's like 30 episodes, you're in big trouble there. Or feature films, that would go into the IndieFlix and Filmbox type of thing, 5 to 6 credits. And of course, if you run out of credits, you can of course purchase them. More. So, oops, I dropped my little notes here. Oh, hang on, everybody. This is exciting stuff here. Big time podcast operation here. So this is Lauren DeVilliers, the chief executive. For the consumer, it's so hard to find things. Everything is so disaggregated. We're sort of rebundling for customers. Our goal is to say, you really love cooking? Here are 10 different services that are going to conquer it for you. Okay, so I'm interested. We'll see what's going on. Now, it's going to initially start online through the Apple App Store and Google Chromecast. Now, you're saying, Pete, this is me and my Roku. Well, again, Roku is a metaphor for streaming services these days. But also, to check things out, maybe I can AirPlay it to the Roku too. So we're in an exploratory phase. I'm intrigued by this. I may try it once and then report back to you and say, or, hey, you don't know. But so a little update there on Struum, and we'll see what that's going to be like. So 50 smaller streaming services available, $4.99 a month. And we'll see what happens. Yes, I kind of agree that there's a big ocean of stuff out there, and we all just kind of gravitate back to our Hulus and Netflixes and stuff. Is there other stuff out there? A lot of these things have free trials on their own, but maybe you want to dive in right away into $5, sort of. Again, let's not criticize until we try. And that's what we do here on Me and My Roku. Okay, let's get into it. The big deal, the big shakedown, the big ho, blah, 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 blah. We woke up early this week and found out the big shakedown, the big deal. That AT&T is going to spin off its media division of Warner Media, which includes Turner and HBO Max, all the big deals. The big thing that took a year to negotiate, like $100 billion or something like that. It had to go through all these hoops and arrows to, and I think they had to sell some things off in order for it to go. It took a year to go there. And then they're going to merge with Discovery, who just 3 years ago went through this whole big merger with Scripps and this big cable networks thing. What does this all mean? Why does AT&T want to get out of this media business? They wanted to do both. They want to be the backbone where you get the services and have the services. It seemed like it was working. That HBO Max was doing the deal for them, and Discovery just getting started. Just launched a deal pretty successfully. I believe I gave it an A+. I'm down to about an A-, but still very entertaining, very good. Oh, what does this all mean for everything else? It's being described as a $43 billion merger. Well, yes and no. $43 billion in cash is going to AT&T so they can pay down their debt. That's what that purpose is for. But it's going to form a whole new company of Warner Media and Discovery. And the Discovery CEO is going to be the CEO of that. But AT&T is still going to own the shareholders, I should mention that, is still going to own 71% of that Discovery, 29%. And then it clicks with me. Yes, we know about the CEO of Discovery, and he's going to be the new CEO. But the chairman of Discovery is my good friend John Malone. Yes, the deal maker. If we went back, where's my Wayback Machine here now? Yes. Way back in the day, I worked for TCI Cablevision. Conglomerate cable, kind of on the lines of, well, I think it's Charter now, for the most part. But John Malone was the CEO of that, and he would just make deal after deal, and he would own bits and pieces of the cable networks, too. That's what made them strong. And when John Malone said, okay, that was fun, I want out of that now, where did he go? He went to AT&T. For the satellite and all the uplinks and all this. So it was just a big deal. So John Malone, plays with monopoly with real things. And so it's, for all people that say, well, there's workers and pensions and all that stuff that get in the way. Don't let that get in the way of a good deal type of thing. So not a bad guy, just, if there's a deal to be made, he wants to be in on it. And so this makes a whole lot more sense to me now. Again, I don't understand what AT&T is going to get out of this. I guess they're just going to focus on 5G and 6G and all that stuff and cell phones and all that delightful things. And Discovery and Warner Media, what are they going to go on from there? What is it going to look like? So now, once again, the Wayback Machine. I said to myself, this. My first thought on this is, why doesn't Turner get something like a Peacock? And so they can have all their shows and their sports and all that stuff like Peacock does. So, are there going to be things? Is going to be separate sports things? So there's going to be different things. Now, when I put that out into the ether last week, it seems like somebody was listening. My good old friend Tom Merritt, who I've talked about on this show every night on his podcast, Cordkillers, had this to say. Maybe he was spying on me.
Here's what I would do with the streaming if it were me. I would create a new product that is a mainstream kind of general purpose Peacock-like thing that has all Friends and all the back catalog of all the historical Warner stuff, and maybe older HBO stuff is in there too, the kind of stuff that they give to Amazon Prime right now. You have a really palatable series offering like that. Then instead of bundling, you do add-ons.
There you have it. So that's courtesy of Cordkillers. You check that wherever you get your podcast. But Tom, obviously, spying on me, having the same thought that I did. Now, like we talked about with Struum earlier, there are more than 300 services. Okay, if you can count subscriptions and advertising-based ones, all that stuff. There's so many things competing for eyeballs. Now, the trick is, do you really need to be Netflix and get those quote-unquote 200 million subscribers type of thing? When Disney and Viacom and Comcast all have their own stuff already. They don't have to invest $17 billion a year on the content when they have a majority of them, and they're doing it anyway, and they have the studios, and they have everything already. Plus, they have entertainment parks and theme parks that they can cross-pollinate with and all that. So that kind of guideline of just trying to shoot for Netflix and all that stuff when you can do on your own. So they say they're going to spend $20 billion a year, Discovery and AT&T merger, Warner, whatever. It'll be interesting. Now, before we get all bent out of shape and worry about all these headlines already, is the great rebundling at hand. This is going to take a lot of negotiating yet, and maybe some things that might have to get sold off too. This is going to get interesting. This is not going to happen for another year and a half yet. So before we get our undies in a bundle here yet, and our credit cards out going, oh, here's something else to get. I don't think actually much is going to change as far as HBO Max and Discovery Plus goes. Is there going to be a separate sports thing? Because Discovery has a lot of European sports and foreign sports, Asian and all that out there. And with the new deal that Warner Media made to get the NHL, is there going to be a separate sports service? Or is there going to be, like I said first, then Tom Merritt said it, a Peacock-like service? Now there is, I failed to update you on this, the $9.99 HBO Max ad-supported. Oh, you saved a whole $5 there. Thanks, HBO Max. It's going to get crazy. This is why there's podcasts like Cordkillers and myself here, so that we can report these things so you can kind of just breathe a little bit. This is going to be okay, and yet interesting and entertaining. There's going to be more choices for you, and you are more in control than ever. They are shaking in their boots, aiming at Netflix or aiming for our eyeballs or all these different things. So people are going to be competing for you, and you can just sit back, get your popcorn, and, well, I'll take it all in. So this kind of, to me, dwarfs the whole Roku versus Google thing last week, because some things are going to come and go, and you're not going to care. YouTube could leave Roku, and you're going to be like, I don't care. I got 300 other things I can go to. Sorry. See you later, YouTube. You practically watch that on your phone anyway. So, or when you're fixing your dishwasher, you want that, you don't want that in your Roku. You want it right in your hand. So, lots of fun stuff going on. It's going to get funner, if that's a word, as we go along. So, just another thing to put in the back of your head, in your back of your brain for a little while, to know that that's going on. So, way to go, John Malone. You made another big deal. So, good job here on Me and My Roku. Boop a doop a doo wow 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 doo 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 wow wow doo doo wow. Okay, kids, gather around. Keep the distance just a little bit yet. I'm fully vaccinated, but I still have another week yet for it to fully take effect yet. So then we can really get closer together and have more intimate conversations and all that stuff. So, the bandwidth of this podcast and all the podcasts that I've done since 2005 is brought to you by archive.org, the keepers of the Internet Archive. Check that out today, please, and find out why I just don't think they're great. You can decide for yourself. That's what I do here on the show anyway. And you can find out the new things like preserving Christmas. Yes, that's right. Over 3,000 volumes of a collection in Illinois has been donated to be archived. Oh, anything from children's books, cookbooks, comic books, mysteries, anything related to Christmas this person had in her attic in Illinois, and she has donated that to the Internet Archive. Check that out today at archive.org, along with all my other podcasts and all that stuff, too. That's a side issue and all that stuff. Check that out today. A lot of things I do in the background that helps support me, so I don't have to get ads on all that other icky stuff. But if you want some information on that, just check it out today. swagbucks.radioaffliction.com. That's just one of the things I use. But just check it out for yourself by just going to that link right there. It's also on the link where you get this podcast. Check that out, and you get started right away. And help yourself. Just even if it's $5 a week, $5 a month. That, if you do it $5 a week, that's a Netflix subscription right there. So you can put it in your PayPal and use that to pay for your Netflix or Hulu or whatever you want to do. You decide for yourself on that. That's just some of the things that I do. Check that out today. And of course, as always, please check out the Internet Archive at archive.org. Okay, news and notes. All right, go through the headlines, scroll through them, and see if there's anything worth talking about. Apple TV Plus may have surpassed 40 million subscribers. May have. Who knows? Fine service. My year is coming up. My year free. I bought like an iPad last year during the pandemic. And I got a year's worth of Apple TV Plus, and I've watched maybe 2 episodes of Snoopy in Space and all of Ted Lasso, and that's about... Oh, no, we watched the Mariah Carey Christmas. I take that back. Whew. So we'll see once it actually comes out of my Apple credits. We do have the Ted Lasso coming out in July, so let's see on that. But fine service. It's the picture quality. Comcast might sell Flex devices to compete with Roku and Fire TV. Okay. Prime Video And WNBA sign exclusive multi-year streaming deal. Now, it's not going to be all the games, because a lot of games are on ESPN, ESPN Plus. Well, this is just another avenue if you need your WNBA. And another way for Amazon to get into the sports streaming universe, because, they're taking over Thursday Night Football in a couple of years. Survey. TV stations produced more local news in 2020 than ever. They also produced a lot more crap. That's a topic for another show. The moment you've all been waiting for here now, one day away. So by the time you hear this, it's available. Former Quibi shows debut May 20th as Roku Originals. Of course, they're not originals because they were on Quibi first, but it's a side issue. It's going to be available on the Roku channel for free. I think 30 shows to start, including Reno 911, the reboot of that. Peacock to stream all 2021 Premier Lacrosse League games. All right. More Peacock news. They have ordered spin-offs of Top Chef, Below Deck, and America Ninja Warrior for streaming. It'll be interesting to know when, instead of doing spin-offs, they're just going to have the shows on it. Now, right now, they'd be cannibalizing Bravo, their main station on that. So I don't know how long Peacock doesn't overtake Bravo, but we'll see about that. More Peacock. Streaming some exclusive French Open. So lots of sports so far on these streaming services. More sports, this time on the Disney side. ESPN has renewed its deal with Major League Baseball until 2028. And then they have also confirmed it, and also, that was, 8 years almost? And then another 8-year deal with La Liga. Now, the big deal on this is it's going to be some of these games on ESPN Plus, but they'll be able to simulcast. So there's some things that you get on ESPN Plus that you don't get on ESPN, and then, say, a Major League Baseball game is on ESPN, but you don't get that on ESPN Plus. It's like, well, wait a minute, I'm paying for ESPN Plus. Why don't I get it? Well, a lot of these things have been resolved down a little bit, but if it's on ESPN, it'll also be on ESPN Plus. So that was the big deal on that. All right, let's get rid of that sheet there. What Warner Media and Discovery deal means for Cordkillers price hikes. A lot of clickbait stuff going to be happening on this stuff. Again, some misinformation about just how much money was part of it. They say, well, it's got a $43 billion merger. Well, that's just what went to AT&T. I talked about that earlier. We have a year before this. It may lead to more services, too. So maybe Struum is the big winner on this, because a lot of these things will be broken up and have to go on there to get noticed. Who knows? Hey, if you've been holding off on getting a new Roku device, noticing like Black Friday prices on things like the Roku Ultra and all that stuff, check that out today. I think it was on Amazon, but there's other places you can check. Just go to Roku and see what deal they'll offer you. Sometimes on your Roku, they'll say, hey, we notice you've got kind of an older device. We got a deal for you here. FCC urged not to expand emergency alerts to streaming platforms at this time. Now, that might seem a little like, well, wouldn't that be good to know? But you're watching your Netflix and all of a sudden an emergency alert comes on. My personal feeling is that's what we have phones for, but and they seem to be siding with my attitude on that right now, but we'll see right now. At least for now, no emergency alerts. And now that should be something you should be able to opt in on, I would think. That would be kind of nice. But I don't think it needs to have an FCC mandate. Streaming platforms asking if weekly viewing is better than binge watching. I kind of like to have the option. So if you brought it out, so the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was weekly and WandaVision, and this is like, okay, let's hold off so that we can binge it. But then you kind of forget about it then too. So I kind of like to having the option of binge watching. But then on the other hand, if it comes out weekly, then you just wait and then see if you remember it. There's plenty of things to watch out there. So Fox executives call Tubi TV on steroids. I haven't kind of followed up on Tubi in a little while because there's just so many other things to do right now. But they're... Well, what else does Fox have right now? Because they gave everything else up to Disney and all that stuff. So they have their sports and everything. So that's their big deal right now, and they're putting a lot into it. So good job, Fox and Tubi. Another page down. Here we go. NBC's fall preview focuses on new shows streaming on Peacock. It could be a deal where some things might just show up on Peacock first before it comes out on the network. We'll have to see. Here's another side story on that. CBS they canceled a bunch of shows, but now a couple of them, like Clarice, SEAL Team, and Evil, are moving to Paramount Plus. SEAL Team is going to get a little bit of a different deal on that, as far as the season premiere and a couple other episodes are going to premiere on CBS and then move to Paramount Plus. Clarice is moving all the way over to Paramount Plus, and the reason being on that is the data doesn't lie. The ratings are bad on CBS. The streaming numbers on Paramount Plus are good. And that's worked for Paramount Plus and formerly CBS All Access, because when The Good Wife left and became whatever it is now, it's done way better on that show. So The Good Life? No, I don't know. Haystack News expands news offerings with News 12 New York On Demand and Cheddar. Haystack didn't have Cheddar. Everyone has Cheddar. Tubi has Cheddar. Sling has Cheddar. Unbelievable. Peacock to stream 2021 and 2022 Eurovision Song Contest live. Wow. I mean, Pluto has Cheddar. Local Now has Cheddar. I don't know about that. And now, again, kind of a clickbaity type of thing. Americans predicted to subscribe to an average 5.7 streaming services by 2024. I'm going to hold off on making predictions like that until we know the big shakeup of everything. I mean, in 4 or 5 years now, what's Netflix going to look like? What's Disney going to look like? What's all these different services? We've already just had the big shakeup between AT&T and Discovery. What's it going to look like 5 years from now? What did it look like 5 years ago? So, yeah. Is Roku and Google going to be like, is this just been a big play because they're actually going to merge together? I don't know. That's enough of that. So I'm getting a little itchy, a little twitchy. The little missus is like wanting me to watch a movie with her or something like that. I better get down there and see what's going on. So I really appreciate you putting up with me and listening to my little ramblings here as I discover and explore what's going on in the streaming universe. So if you need more, you can check me out at meandmyroku.com. You can also check out the Facebook page on that too. I update a little more on that, I've noticed. There's also videos of this. It's the logo and my voice. You don't actually see me doing this. You wouldn't want to do that. So facebook.com/meandmyroku. If you need to know more about how I get the gift cards for my streaming, check out the link on this where you get this podcast, or swagbucks.radioaffliction.com. Check that out today. As always, thank you to archive.org for their support and providing the bandwidth of this podcast and all the podcasts I have done since 2005. That's right, I'm not a rookie at this. I've been doing this quite a while. Another way you can support this podcast is subscribing. Yes, it's available on all major platforms, but as always, I have a list. I'm ready to give it to you right now. You may subscribe to the Me and My Roku podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Ghana, JioSaavn, Himalaya, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartMedia, Podbean, Pandora, and Odyssey. Follow me on Twitter at Radio Affliction and on Instagram at Pierre Argyle. But if you need one-on-one questions, comments, anything along those lines, email me at meandmyrokupodcast@gmail.com. You know what? I hope you are enjoying you and your Roku as much as I'm enjoying me and my Roku. And I'll be back with you real soon.